Hello, and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co host, Tracy.
Hey y'all.
And we were just saying we are on the cusp of a very pivotal, most important election coming up on Tuesday. And the news is all saying that it's going to be women who save democracy. Not just Black women, but all women, because we have so much on the line. So we decided to dedicate this show to keep it very light because there are people who are very tense. I'm people, I'm very tense. I'm people and I'm very tense. So we are going to talk about sisterhood, and we have invited a very close friend of ours to talk about sisterhood. You want to give like a brief little introduction of who we have coming on?
So our guest is near and dear to us. Shahida and I have been on and off, more on in book club with this person for over 2 decades now. This person is a professional in academia as well as the healthcare field. She is a super mom, if there ever was one that I met, as well as she's just like a fashionista, a real hot girl,
A
um,
real hot girl.
a big sister to us, and one of the most organized individuals that I know with exquisite penmanship, might I add.
Very organized, very organized. And she should be popping in a second as soon as I send the word. As soon as I send the word, but she will be popping in. But yeah, we decided to have her because sisterhood is very important to all of us. And she again has, like Tracy said, she has been a big sister to us. And when you all see this woman, I hope, hey,
There she is.
Oh, ladies.
hello.
Hi, happy Friday.
Yes,
As we prep for our big election day.
yes. Pins and needles, pins and needles.
So Tracy just gave you an absolute fabulous intro, and she called you. What you call her? A hot babe,
A real hot girl.
a real hot girl, and I had to co-sign that.
See my
Said you are a big sister, and I don't know if we should mention a certain number, but because my coworkers they all know who she is. They know. My
I'm
coworkers
guilty
be
of
like,
being
God
on the
damn.
work trip. Like, look at my friend. How old do you think she is?
Wait a minute. Have you collected
No,
money for all the wrong guesses? That's what
that's
I
what I
want
need
to
to
know.
start doing. I need to start betting. Is what I
Yes,
need to start doing on here.
That
That's what I need to start
is
doing.
yes.
the truth. I need for people to start paying up, so because it's always wrong,
I
and then
actually,
they be mad.
yep, I actually bet this guy in a bar, and I was like, oh, I won't take your money, but he did. He gave me $100.
I love it. We need to go with. We need to be
I
going
know
to the
we
bar
need to
with
be
this.
making some tours.
We can
Okay.
make this a racket, okay?
That is smart. I mean,
Get some vacation money over here going.
hmm so do you want to drop it or no,
Um, 6'5".
ma'am? First of all, when you drop that number, tell I'm 56, and that is just my goal to be as good looking as she is
Well,
because
you're there.
Teresa is. Because what?
You're there.
I, ma'am, but you know how things change
Now
quickly. A year,
you look like you're
could
12.
uh,
Especially when you meet her in person.
who?
Who?
You.
I don't know. When I see Teresa, I'm just like, you know what? I better keep my shit together. I better. And
We
it's
need we need the regimen. We need the
that's what
book.
I
Yeah.
was just
We
about to
need all
ask.
of that. Like
The
literally
regiment.
you are like the meme for Black Don't Crack. Like
Okay.
literally the meme, the walking meme for
All
it.
right. I got a pillow, but I might not need it tonight when I go to bed. 'Cause it's gonna be like,
But one
oh.
of the things that I wanted to talk about because we were saying, sisterhood.
Yep.
And I feel like over the last 20 odd years, I have seen the growth in both of you.
Mm.
And
Oh.
just, or but in our group as a whole, just the growth. And for you, Teresa, what would you say would probably be your advice to younger women? Because my advice to younger women would always be to be open-minded, to always look that, you things will change and you probably have to go with it. What would be your advice? Because I feel like you and Tracy are calming for me.
Mm. I,
Ah.
I would
Yes, you are.
say, because hindsight is 2020, right? The younger
Right?
me certainly didn't know the things that I know now and know the transformation that would occur over time. So I would say be open. I tell young people, and I am excited when I hear young people are going away to college, because I believe that that is a gateway for them to get out of their comfort zones, to be able to experience other places and other things. Because when you stay somewhere, I feel like you tend to just be very comfortable, like in that space. For me, not I'm not originally from Massachusetts. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. A very different growing up experience for me there. Coming here was the ultimate shock, you know, because you got to think of my age and the year that I was born, and so a lot of these things that we're seeing politically are some of those things that I was exposed to as a child. But because I was a child, I really didn't know the inner workings and the details of that stuff. It was not until I got, a little bit older. And actually Boston was the place where I experienced a lot of those different things. So I would say just being open, um, always being aware of your environment, um, and I would say have a voice, whatever that voice is, and understand that life is going to be transformative, and just to be able to go with that transformation. Don't beat yourself up in the process. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Um, but I think if you have some core values in terms of who you are, you'll be okay, and you can kind of grow and move along as your life evolves, and life for everyone evolves. It's a constant flow of change. And even at this age, I'm probably experiencing the most change that I've ever felt in like all of my years. So it doesn't stop, which is good, right?
So we read a book in book club. It gets greater later by Bevy
Yeah,
Smith. It actually was Bevelations,
yeah,
and her
it
saying
is.
was, "It gets greater later." So, what hearing you say that just reinforces that there's just more to come. Like things don't come to a screeching halt at any particular age, and I'm always a big believer that you always should keep growing. You always should keep evolving. And thank you, Shahida, for saying that you see the growth in me, because I don't want to be where I was
Right.
5 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't even want to be where I was last year. I want to always be leveling up in one way or another. And it doesn't just mean like, oh, I want the biggest promotion at work. I want to make $1 billion, which I do. But I want to grow
Yes,
as a
you are.
person. So that gives me hope, because I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to 65. Can't wait. Like, but there's a journey that's gonna happen.
I would say that book was great. And, I follow her on social media. So I'm always excited just seeing her level of energy too, about how she just lives her life full and out loud with no kind of inhibitions. And everybody should be in that place to, you know, just enjoy life as it is. I remember when I turned 40, 40 was transformative to me. It was such a big age. And at 40, I was like, you can't tell me nothing. When 50 came, I was just like, oh, I didn't want nobody to say 50. Don't say 50. Don't say 50. I was like, oh. But now, like, I had a big birthday party when I turned 60. And that was really, it was, to me, it was such a great party. I had 60 people there for my 60th birthday. And I know many of you ladies couldn't make it, but it was just such a great event. I turned 65. I didn't really do anything at 65, but I will always have good memories, of that time. My mom turned 90, and so that was like a big year, for me. And so, that she's since passed, but that was a big, she passed the year after, and so that was a big year. That was just before COVID.
Wow.
But you
Yeah.
you weren't doing something big with others, but you did do something big because you were celebrating your one
Yeah.
year wedding anniversary as well, like right within a few
Yeah.
days of
Tracy,
that birthday.
Yeah.
you jumped into it before I was going to save that because
No, we're gonna
I
listen, this
know
podcast
we
gets
got
to the
I
nitty and the
wanted to
gritty.
save
This
it
is what we came here for.
Ah,
because we're talking about relationships last year, but before we go into that, I just wanted to say one thing. One of my greatest fears is not growing.
mm,
Like, I don't want to think the same way that I did 10 years ago.
right.
And I had like a couple of aunts. They were like over 100 when they passed away.
Wow.
One aunt was 106.
Wow.
And one of the things I most admired about my great aunts is that they were not stuck
Mm,
in 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. They were growing and accepting and learning. And that's how I always want to be because they were at the most peace. And I see that a lot with my conversations with, Teresa, is that I feel like she's getting to that point where she's at her most peace because she's saying no
mm.
to getting old mentally.
I'm saying
Teresa
no.
been saying no.
I've been saying no to a lot of things.
Teresa's been saying no since I've known her.
But and that's what I love about her. Also, I know we wasn't supposed to do a whole big fan fest for Teresa, and I don't want to blow up her head anymore. No. but but we did want to get to what Tracy alluded to, and you go ahead and you break that news to us because I think all the women will be, especially the single ones,
Yep.
will be very happy
Yep.
about
I
this.
I got married last year, October 12th, um to my best friend.
First marriage, y'all.
First.
First
This is
man.
this is what needs to be understood.
Yeah.
So for context, Teresa, who is now 65, got married for the first time last year to a really cool
Yeah.
dude who's like a brother to the book club circle now because he's just that dude.
Our original cook.
Right, our original chef brother Yardie. Uh
When I was on hiatus, so I never really heard the story of the actual meeting. So,
So it
I want to
was,
hear
so I forget what book we were reading at the time.
was it Joy Luck Club?
No,
Was
because
that the
remember I
one?
got I got Chinese food for
Okay,
that.
never mind.
I forget what
that.
book it was. Might have been like the year after, the following year, but I don't remember which book it was. So we were friends. So we were friends for 7 years before we started dating. And I always tell this story. Like when I met him at someone else's house and was introduced to him. And there was a couple of other guys there and everything. And somebody else was over there trying to holler at a sister, and but I was just taking it in and having cocktails and having a good time. It was a great environment. And so when I met him, he just was, I could tell he was like excited to meet me. And so we became friends. And at the time, I was kind of in and out of a relationship at that particular time. So there was really no opportunity for either one of us to, seek something else. But we became friends. And if I'm traveling, hey, can you like come take me to the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning? Um, from that,
More.
yeah, from that, our relationship at a certain point changed. It all depends, depending on where we were in our life, and it changed. Now it took us a long time to get to the marriage part, but I literally was having a conversation with my son's godmother in Bermuda. She called me last night and we were just talking about relationships because she was married. I was in her wedding in Bermuda, um, a long time ago, and 10 years ago, maybe, or so, or more. And, she's divorced, but they're friends, still friends. He had married someone else and his wife died like back in May. His mom died, his father died. Like, so he's had a lot. So we were just talking about relationships, and I was saying to her that I am not unhappy about where I am now in terms of being in relationship and in the marriage now, because I don't think I was ready then for so many reasons. Um, and I do believe things work when they're supposed to work, and things circle around in your life the way that they're supposed to. I wasn't, I wouldn't, I probably wouldn't be married if I'd married when I was younger. And it doesn't mean that I didn't have opportunities of other people. I did, but I recognize that they really weren't the person for a lifetime commitment.
Mhm.
So, it didn't happen. And, we meet people. It's like, oh, you think, oh, that's going to be your husband. Oh, no, nope, that's not going to work. And so we finally decided to be, made a conscious decision to be in a relationship with one another. And, this has been our journey. I think the foundation of friendship has been the thing that has helped us, because all relationships have their trials and tribulations, and we've had many, at different parts. Growing pains, um, just personal stuff that you're dealing with. And so, I feel like we're at the right place that we're supposed to be in now. I could look back as like, oh, you should have married me, years ago, but that wasn't God's plan. And that's how I look at it. And I don't try to compare myself to anybody's situation in their timing versus my timing, and how my relationship is versus how their relationship is. What I do value is other people who are in relationships, other people who are married, and let those be kind of examples. I can defer to them and ask questions and so forth. Like I asked a friend, how do you handle your finances? Do you combine? Do you do separate? Because everybody does something different,
Mhm.
so utilize the people that are around you to kind of help you through this journey, because he was never married before and I was never married before. My husband's 10 years younger than me.
Where's the little thumbs up? You know, when the bubbles start popping up in the video, like. But what's cool about you guys, I think, and sometimes you just have those couples who are friends, and there's not like a weird tension. Some couples have a weird tension
Mm,
when you're around them. And it's just like, but you guys have like, you guys seem
Good energy.
genuinely to have
Mhm.
your own lives, and then you have a great union. And I think that's what makes a good couple. Like, I think that's what makes my relationship work, is like, I do me, he does him. When we come together, we do well together as well. So I think you guys have that. And that's what some people don't realize, is that it's not about, oh, did we get engaged and married in 18 months and then did this and we checked this box and we checked this box. Sometimes things are not traditional,
right.
and that's what works, and that's what
And
lasts.
we agreed actually on that. Now, we talked about marriage, trust me, a lot before we even got married, and what we thought we wanted, in terms of having
Mhm.
a ceremony, having a wedding, it was like down the vineyard on the beach, boom, boom, boom. That didn't happen. Now, as far as getting to this, last year literally started like in January, basically. We talked about it before, but it's like, all right, we got to get moving on this, like January. You know, decisions kind of going back and forth, because we were thinking destination, but one of the things that I mean, I do a lot of planning for work, so I really was not trying to plan anything. And we were going to do destination, but it was a lot of work to do that and time. And so I was like, no, that's not going to work. Then we were going to go to Bali and try to do something there. It was like, nope, let's not do that. So we just decided to really.
I'm sorry. I hate to disrupt. Is that the AC still on? Because it's
No, I hear
something is
something.
really.
I hear something
What is
too.
that? Yeah, I hear you hear it. Okay.
It's like a, yeah, I think it might be. Well, Shahida, you know you work magic. You don't edit it out. The other.
All right, I thought it was something that we could be turned. All
Yeah,
right,
not me, nothing's on.
keep going, keep
But
going.
Oh, it's not okay.
so
That's weird.
we really decided to do small. So it was just going to be my son, his daughter, his mom, and his two best friends, and my three best friends. And as kind of things transpired, those plans changed because we were going to do Justice of the Peace until I found out that my childhood best friend and her husband, who I've known all my life, were officiating weddings as a business. And so they gifted us that. And that's how we
Mm,
ended up actually having a ceremony. And then my cousin had access to an art gallery. So that we got that for no money. Walked in the day that we were, the day before, and it was a beautiful grand piano in there. And the woman was like, "Oh, we'll be taking this out probably." It was like, "Oh, no, 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 leave it, leave it." So like everything worked out the way it was supposed to. We had to have a small wedding because we were doing a dinner at a restaurant in the South End called SRV, and we could only have so many people, and so literally our list was family, and that was challenging. You know, it's always challenging when you are trying to plan these things and you want everybody that you love and care about to be there, but you just can't. So our goal is, once we get a house, because that's the other thing that's on our table that we need to do. So we'll have a big celebration and we'll be able to invite all the people that we wanted to be at our wedding, you know, at kind of the groundbreaking of our new home, whatever that turns out to be. But it was a journey. It was, I got the dress that I wanted. I, I was, just saying last night to my girlfriend Carla, was like, I tried on those big puffy dresses. They look beautiful. You see the pictures? They're gorgeous. Heavy and hot.
I could do that again. That was my first wedding. I definitely was the big poofy, and my mother-in-law made it was an ordeal. But what you said about just family, and I think as a society, we have gotten so far away from very intimate weddings. And you spend all this money anyway,
Hmm.
but you spend all this money on actually entertaining other people. Are
Right.
you getting married for other people, or are you getting married as a show? Now, I had a huge wedding, but I was young, and most of the people that were there were my parents' friends.
That's how it
And that was
always is.
fine because they paid for it. So it's
They're
like,
going to invite all their friends, whether you like it or not.
exactly. But if I were, and I don't see marriage in my future, I just want to live in sin. I'm okay with that
oh,
part.
oh, okay.
Well,
We're okay with that
it's
part.
no longer
Uh,
sin, though, because you've grown.
to my
He
parents,
likes
it
it to
might
sound
be.
titillating.
Okay.
It might be. But, if I were, I would do something extremely simple like that
Yeah.
as well. Very, very close friends, because you're making that vow to that person,
Yes.
and you want God and your witnesses and all that to be forefront, but I also want it to be something very intimate between the two of us.
Right.
Big party later, but the
Right.
actual ceremony, I would
Yeah.
prefer it to be very
We
small.
did our own vows. We I was like really good that day. Honestly, I had a lot couple of different options my way, I got ready right here in my house because
Mm-hmm.
that's I don't know, it's peaceful here to me. And so I wanted to enter the day, just peacefully. I did, I could have got in a hotel room and done all of that. I just like, I'm not trying to do all that. I'm not trying to lug all this stuff and do all of that stuff. Let me just get ready here. And that was the best decision that I made. And just the planning process, I'll have to say, we split those numbers of guests right in half. Because my husband,
Mm-hmm.
he was not giving up his pieces. Okay, so I could have invited some more people outside the family, but he was claiming all of his slots.
It's right
Well, he's
to
in a
do so.
fraternity too.
Yes,
So
and
that's part of
that
it,
was
is the
that was
fraternity.
a like, and some of his fraternity people were mutual friends, but they was like on his side. So it was just like, but at the end of the day, it was our day. So he should be, I included him. We made decisions together about what we were going to do. It wasn't just my decision. And
Your day.
typically,
Yeah.
traditionally, the woman like runs the show and everything. But I wanted to say, as you were speaking, Shahida, in terms of the intimacy of it, that was important to me. And I'm glad that I did it that way. But I think so many people are caught up in social media and how everybody is just flashing all the over the top. It announced the engagement, and then it's the engagement party, and then it's the shower, and it's an event, and it's everything is so over the top, and you spend all this money, and it's like, for what?
And don't know how to talk to that person when you get
So
home.
you
That's the
so you can put
thing.
a picture up on social media somewhere, a whole thing. Yeah, just like, yeah, that really wasn't going to work for me. When I look back at the pictures, and I'm looking at myself on that day, and I'm just like happy, just happy. And all the people that were there at the dinner, all of his friends all said the same thing about my husband. Like, and it just, that was probably the best thing for me, was hearing what they said about him, because I know who he is. And it was a reflection too of his mom, who, not for nothing, I got the best mother in law ever. She was so happy. She was so excited. She has always treated me the same since I met her when Darius and I were just friends. She
And that's
never
so
changed.
important.
I might differ with you a little bit because I really think that I am the best mother-in-law ever. But to your point, especially for young people, there's 2 points because one, when Tracy and I were last week, we were talking about relationships and social media. So I want to get your advice on younger women who are out there, just dating and how they should connect with social media. But also the other point would be families. If you are 20s, 30s, and you're getting married, the best thing that you can have is family support.
Yep.
The best thing that you can have is family support. Somebody that's going to be impartial and be, rooting for both of you to win.
Yep.
And so for me, with my son and my daughter-in-law, I'm rooting for both of them. More her than him, but hey,
So
because
that's
I'm a
the
girl's girl, girl's girl.
issue.
But your advice for people, just not even just young people, because really social media and dating is just a phenomenon in
I
itself,
don't know if
good
I
or
don't know if
bad.
you all even realize, I never put any pictures up of him and I
Oh no, I
Very
recognize
rarely.
for
that
like the longest
for a
time.
long
For the
time.
longest time.
Hmm.
He just requested to follow me on Instagram.
Is he still
I have
pending?
not
That
accepted
is
it yet.
hilarious. Tracy said, is he still pending?
And he is. No one, Teresa. But that's the thing. And I think like that, and that's part of it. And I know you're going to give your advice, but part of it is people spend too much time trying to think about what other people think is happening with them.
Right,
And that's that social media element of it. Meanwhile, you're having a good old time, and it doesn't have to be documented. And if it is, it doesn't have to be shared with
right.
everyone.
Now I do document. I will take pictures and he'll be like, get rid of that filter.
He got eyelashes and the filter.
But I will take pictures, but oftentimes if you see me post something, girl, it could be weeks before you see them pictures. It could just be weeks because I'm busy. I don't have a time to be sitting here all day just posting everything that I'm doing. And there's also been times I've gone out with people and friends. I've not taken like one picture. Like
That's me.
just preserving that moment and that time
Mhm.
for us to be in that moment and that time. So I don't really use I post him more now than I have ever. Like seriously in all these 17 years of being, in a relationship with him. But I just think that that would be my advice is to keep your situation off of social media. It doesn't it's not a big issue if got a big so celebratory situation happening, but not every single little thing that you do hits the airwaves of social media. It's not necessary. It's just like when I see people, I don't post stuff, meaning you're not going to see me posting a pocketbook or, new, fancy shoes or anything like that.
I was about to say some slick ass shit. Let me
If you are,
lean
yeah,
my ass back because I know what you're talking about, and
yes,
I'm gonna just sit right
yes, just
here.
sit right there. Cause I just think it's just not, it's so what? Like, that doesn't determine who you are as a person. Um, And I think that's how people get caught up. People get caught up in other people's fantasies because they are really fantasies that they are posting. And so it's even the relationships, always, oh, oh, me and my boo. Ooh, ooh. Like,
Hmm.
okay, great. But like, and it doesn't mean that people aren't happy for you, but actually be happy. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
Are you playing at
right,
being happy,
exactly.
or are you actually happy? And we haven't read this book as a group yet, but I'm reading Kerry Washington's book right now, Thicker Than Water. I think it's called Thicker Than Water.
Yeah.
And she talks about how she and her family, like it was they were like actors in a play of life rather than actually
Right.
being and living and engaging. They had like these unspoken rules, and they would like do this dance around each other of what they thought each other wanted
Mm,
instead of actually being with each other. And this was just her parents
right,
alone. But she talks about how going into adulthood, she took some of that with her, and she had to learn how to break out of that and actually be herself and actually have like actual connections with people. Like I feel like the three of us and our book club sisters and our other like extended friend circle, we have like real relationships. Like we've bared some real like messiness
right,
to each other, not for anyone to run around and gossip about it,
right,
but to just say, I'm in a vulnerable space right now. Listen to what I've been
right.
through. And that's part of being like good friends with
Yeah.
people, is like understanding their story, their journey, and not using it as
Yeah.
fodder for, oh, let me run over here and tell so and
This
so.
is
But
this is who I am, and this is how
yeah.
I'm showing up today. This is how I'm feeling, and I need some advice or I need an ear. I just, whatever it is, just, being supportive of one another. And it's not always good,
Without
Hmm.
competition.
you know.
And
And
being
oh, I love that
ourselves.
part, and it's not always good.
Right. I think
Yeah, like
probably at this age is interesting. I'm feeling more challenged by more things than before. And
Meaning,
I'm trying to get to a place of understanding in regards to that. because I feel like what's kind of showing up for me is that people don't really want you to be who you are.
Mhm.
It's when you're younger, I think, you cannot on purpose be inauthentic, but you're being authentic to who you are at that particular time. As I said, as you go along, things change. You change, hopefully. That's one of the things I would say to my son all the time. How you think today, 5 years from now, your opinion about something will change and then
Mhm.
continue to change as you go along. I think the greatest thing that you can do is change, is evolve, not to stay the same. Some of those things that I did before, some of the things I may have said before, I may not say now. Yeah, with some things I probably will, because if I said it to you, I meant it. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but but I wouldn't change anything, because I try to operate out of a space of, if I care about somebody, then I'll say something to them. It's not to hurt them, it's to help them see for themselves that you might want to think about this in a different way. So what I've learned is that now I will say things in a way to not to emphasize the point that I'm thinking of them, which it's always been the case, but I'm really thinking about them and the decisions that they make. And sometimes I just sit back and watch and don't say anything. I don't comment on a lot of stuff, but when I do, it's, you know,
And that comes with age. I think knowing when to just fall back from a situation or knowing how to approach a situation, it's not always the easiest. Sometimes you do have to have difficult conversations with people. And I think that because of the way you are, in particular, Teresa and Shahida, like I feel like you guys will say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something," or you'll be honest with me. Like Teresa will be like, girl, you tag of your back of your dress is sticking out or something,
mm,
like, because in those moments you're so genuine.
right,
When you have something else to say to me that's like, okay, maybe, this may be a difficult conversation, I receive it better because I'm like, I know that you're saying this with best interest in
right.
mind, not just for me, but for other
You
people.
care about me
um
as a human being,
yeah.
as a person, and I value the friendships and the relationships that I have. Um, Boy, but I tell you, the older you get, it gets tougher. It does get tougher. Should be easier, you would think.
But it feels so good to be who you are. Like I feel like,
Say that again. Oh, it's tougher. I've had some challenges. It's the unexpected happens when you don't expect it. And how do you deal with that?
Like what would be like like another friend or yeah,
In a lot of relationships, it is that way. But I will tell you, the relationship wise, let's go back to my relationship with my husband. He is my friend, and that has been the foundation. And if I were to give advice to any person, young or of someone of a more mature age, is to have that foundation of friendship, because that literally has been the thing that sustains me. Now, I get pissed off not in my friendship zone, but having that friendship with that person, because you think about when you're young, you're like, oh, you're just like, oh, he's just like, oh, he's so fine, he's so this and so that. Well, he
being
might
a
be a real jerk, a little bit, go a little bit further down the road. But if you establish a friendship, there's a certain amount of respect that you have for that person. So relationships with women are the same, can be the same way too. Establishing the friendship, and having that respect for that person. And when the disrespect shows up, believe what you see. Painful, hurts, it's
yeah.
tough, but it is what it is. And you have to operate accordingly. You know, you have to operate accordingly.
I get that. I get that because sometimes you could have long relationships with people and they may not root for you at a time. They can be your champions when you're going through the same things,
Yes.
or you're living kind of like the same experiences. And sometimes when things change, all of a sudden they are not the champions that they were for you. It's kind of hard sometimes for people to beat back a little bit of jealousy or envy. And I think it's and I wouldn't say in every relationship there's a little bit of jealousy, but sometimes there's a little bit of discomfort when you're
Mhm.
struggling and other people are doing well and you want to wish them well. And I've seen this happen and ruin relationships,
Yeah.
trying to be a mediator between that, but the
Yeah.
other person can't like, really see it. Whereas they love you at one point, but for some reason, their inner stuff, their personal stuff kind of like takes over and they can't separate it. And next thing you know, a friendship is
Yeah.
completely blown up.
So I'm gonna be a friend right here and tell you your volume is weird, Shahida. I
Right?
don't know what's going
What
on with
happened?
your
Yeah,
sound.
because it's like low.
It's like it's getting low. Is it your mic?
Mic
I
check
turned it
one, two.
Oh,
down.
much better.
Oh, I had turned it down
Oh,
because I didn't know
Yeah,
where that
much
noise
better.
was
Leave it
coming
up.
from.
oh.
So can I say something about what you just said, Shahida? So my thing I always tell my kids, I tell my husband, or any of my nieces and nephews, iron sharpens iron. Like you need to be around people that are not always on your caliber, but want to see you grow and you want to see them grow. You're not hanging around a bunch of people who are under you because you want to be above them, and you're not hanging around with mostly people who are above you who are treating you a type of way because you're beneath them. You want to be the iron that's sharpening the
Okay.
iron.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, like I say that all the time, and people come to me and like, oh, this is going on in this relationship with so and so. I'm like, well, look at the inequities in your relationship. Y'all don't have this in common. This person degrades you, or you degrade this person. Like you guys need to be trying to be on each other's level, and then also sharpening, getting stronger
Right.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I can love you and
Your
I
juices.
saw this good quote earlier, and it said, "My love is
Good.
unconditional, but my presence is
yeah.
conditional." It was this woman on Instagram. That shit hit me in my
Mm-hmm.
gut. I was like,
Say that again.
"My love is unconditional, but my
Essence
presence
is.
is not."
Yeah.
Like I like
Mm.
My
is
presence
conditional.
is conditional.
It's conditional. It's conditional, meaning that I will love you and I can love you from a distance, but I don't have to be in the mess with you.
Right.
Yeah, that
Right.
is good.
Yep.
And
Black
that's the
woman, of
thing
course.
is
Yes.
I think I have been very fortunate where I have surrounded myself with women and I have like and sometimes I always have to remind myself sometimes you got to let people know that you appreciate their presence. So I have gotten much better with that
You're so
over
good at that. Both of you will send me a card like in a heartbeat. I know if I get a card, you guys always send me cards in the mail, like just thoughtful cards that no one else is going to see or know about. And I was like, oh, and she is always like, always giving great compliments and things like that. I appreciate you both.
I
so
appreciate you too.
but but that's what I feel like when I was younger and I think that's part of my only child syndrome that I took a lot. And I always said, and I think I said it to you guys did as even as like even from my cousins, my family members or whatever, they were always to me like up here. They loving, extremely loving, but I took a lot. I felt like and I was like as I got older, I realized, oh, I'm in a very good position. I have people that really love me and that really rock with me. So I need to let them know while they're here often that I appreciate that. And I try to do that with my girlfriends too. And I have been very fortunate that I feel like I do have like really great women
Mhm.
in my life that make me laugh, that that make me happy, that I know that I can call and say, I'm feeling like shit right now. Help me out this one.
I think one of the things is really important is to check on your people. Tracy,
You are very good at that.
I try, and Tracy's really good at that too. Tracy will do something. I'll be like, "Oh, that's so nice." Everybody wants to know that somebody in this world cares about them, is thinking about them. So when I think about people, sometimes, life be going and you be like, oh gosh, oh, weeks will go by. I'm like, I'm gonna stop right now. I'll message Tracy like 1:30 in the morning. You up?
And I am
I'm like, I don't get those texts,
sometimes
but because I'm not.
Wait a minute, because we
because you are
not. We
asleep.
know you sleeping, Shahida. Okay. And you
Damn,
and
Now, 5
wait a minute.
a.m., you can get
Wait
Shahida
a
on
minute.
that
Wait a minute.
text.
that's
And
right.
Shahida, you need to go out on Sunday, okay?
No.
But I think
You know, I'll burn the midnight oil. I'm going out this Sunday
okay.
night after 6.
But I think it's really important to check in on people because I think all both of you ladies are strong individuals, raising your families and all the things that you're doing, but everybody needs to be checked on. All the strong people need to be checked on. I check on people all the time because I know what it feels like not to be checked on. And
Mm.
I know you're going through something, or I haven't heard from you, or I haven't seen you. We've not gotten together. What's going on? Let me check on you and make sure everything is okay. I think that's important. Um, and I think it's appreciated, by people who are on the receiving end of that because I feel like everybody wants to be checked on because everybody's got something going on. You never know that call that you might make or that text that you might send might have just like, man, that just made my day, you know? So
It often does.
yeah, this my girlfriend called me last night from Bermuda, and I was so surprised because she never calls me during the week because she's in bed by 8 o'clock.
That early.
8 o'clock, I'm just getting warmed up.
Okay,
Chase break.
but the circle of friendship is, it's ever changing. I think, um, they say the older you get, the fewer opportunities you have to make new friends. I there
Mhm.
is a little bit of truth in that, but it just depends on what you're doing in your life, you
I
know?
agree. And how
So
open you are to that because especially, as we're older, that you end up and you work in a space where you end up working with younger women
Yes.
and you have to kind of like handle those relationships a little bit differently than you would your older friends, but that's a great way of like kind of like keeping in contact and constantly
And
growing because
yes,
you're listening to
I will
them.
also say with my parents, they used to take care of this lady named Miss Talby. They used to look after her.
Hmm.
She would come for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Christmas dinner. She would sit there and have her little. My mother would drink. My mother and my grandmother would drink martinis, and she'd have her martini. And Miss Talby was sharp. I mean, head to toe. She worked. She was back in the day filings worker, so
Hmm.
she was
ooh, she had all the what do you call it? The
uh,
markdowns,
Hmm.
final
dressed from
markdowns.
head to toe always. And so my parents were her younger friends and they looked
Hmm.
after her as she got older. And so we
Hmm.
all need to have some younger
So
blood in
that's
the
the
mix.
thing that I
Younger
was
and older.
gonna say is like the women that I admire, like you guys, especially like my grandmother and my mom, they have friends of all
Yep,
ages, like a spectrum of ages of friends. And I feel like I embodied that too from,
Yeah.
seeing it seeing it demonstrated in my household. So I have friends that are in their 20s. I have friends that are in their 60s and
yep,
70s. So I think that like you were saying, she it lends to something where you're learning from both
yep,
ends. So this is what the future could look like. And then I'm also learning, oh, this is what the young people are doing. I can take a page out of their book
right.
sometimes with the things that they're doing. And younger people get a bad rap, Gen Z, um, Gen Y. The millennials, they do get a bad rap because some of the stuff they do is fugazi. I ain't gonna lie. But so does our generation have things that we could throw away too. But a lot of times, especially in the workplace, I learned advocacy from younger people.
Mm,
I can see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
I
I
can
think
see.
these younger people certainly have grown up in a very different world than we
Hmm.
have, and so they are fearless. You gonna pay them,
To a
But
fault
where did
sometimes.
they learn that
you
from,
know?
though? That's the thing I feel people miss all the time. Where did they
We did
learn
that.
that stuff?
Yeah.
We instilled that in them.
But also, I mean,
Yeah.
the flip side of that though too is that I don't think that they come with the same worth ethic as we do. It's a little different.
You know what I admire most about that, about their work ethic? Now, most of the people that I know, they work hard, but they are not trying to kill
Yeah,
themselves
Right.
for anybody's
yeah.
job. They're like in a heartbeat. They're like, I'm going to come and I'm going to show up, but I need to enjoy my life. And that's something that we did not think of when we were younger.
Because it
Like,
was work hard,
long
work
ago.
hard, you know.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's bullshit.
And
That
I
is
was like
absolute
that. I was
bullshit.
work hard, work hard. I'd
Same.
work, come home, go to my office, work some more. And then finally I was like, wait a minute. And this was when I was younger. I was like, I got a life. Like,
Staying late, all of
and
that.
I'm
It
busy.
got to a point where I was like, as soon as that bell tolls on 5 o'clock, don't look for Tracy
Don't look
because
for
I am
me at
done for
quarter
the
to
day.
five.
And
Mhm.
I've been on jobs where coworkers would be like, oh, I'm taking my laptop home for the weekend. You have fun with
Yep,
that. Not finna do it.
yep, yep,
Not doing that.
yep,
But years ago, you probably would have been different because I know I was
yep.
different, where I was just like, whatever I could do to stay in the graces of my bosses. And so they'd be like, oh, Shahida's an extremely hard
So
worker.
I was like that until I realized no matter how
Exactly.
much I bust my ass, it
And that's
wasn't going to
what
make a
my
difference.
No, you
realization.
weren't
It
going
was
to
not
get
going to
paid
make a
more.
difference in the world. Because here comes
They would replace you in a
Johnny
heartbeat.
Be Good asking for a raise, who doesn't deserve it, who I trained, and they get the raise and the promotion, and I do not. That laptop staying right on your
Yeah.
property.
I know somebody that happened to, and they went and got a new job,
Hmm.
and they
You know, if I don't like the company logo,
no.
I'll quit a job. So you talking
Casey says the
you
court
to somebody?
moved
Ma'am,
on.
ma'am.
I do not play. You got one or two times across me on a job, and Tracy
Mhm.
will be down the street working for your
I love
competition.
that though. I love that.
Not
And that's
doing
what I
that.
like about the new generation is that they're not falling for that, oh, work you to death
Right.
so I can retire at 65 and maybe die of heart disease at 67.
Right.
No, no, you're not going to do
Yep.
that. So I admire, because I'm not doing it either.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they taught me
And
that.
I feel like
They
I'm a
taught me
pioneer for the simple fact that
that.
I'd be on a job for like 2 years and people like, damn girl, you do not stay on a job. Now 2 years on a job is seniority
Yeah.
at a lot of
Yeah.
places.
Mhm.
It is.
Because these young
People they
people
like
are
out.
not here for the shenanigans. They
Mhm.
want their money,
Yep.
they want their time off, they want their unlimited vacation, they want their work from home. And if you don't have it for them, they're on their way. And
But
like I
the
said, I
one
feel like I blazed the
Yes.
trail. In my
taking advantage of the work from home are effing it up for everybody else.
It's mostly men because they don't want to be at home. And that's my theory on this.
Effing it up
All
for
of my coworkers who cut up during the pandemic about going back to the office were men.
Sir, I'm sorry you don't like your wife in your house,
Right.
but we want to
And them
stay home.
kids,
Right.
the
And
wife
them
and the
kids and
kids.
that dog.
I'm sorry you don't like them, but we want to stay
They could do
home
because they couldn't leave work and pull up to the bar and do whatever,
and go
the
see their
things.
girlfriend.
I was doing what
Right.
I wanted to do
With their
anyway when
off
I,
with their office wife.
Yeah.
right. And that part, the office wife to make everything better
Yep.
for them, or whatever. And I think that's a big thing the pandemic drew out, and that you and your husband lasted through the pandemic. Me and my husband became closer in the pandemic. That experience showed a lot of people their true
Yep.
friendships,
Their
their true
friendships, yeah.
personal
Yep.
relationships, their relationships with their kids and family. Like seriously, the pandemic really shined a big spotlight. And thankfully I came on positive end of it. And we actually went on a kick-ass vacation, Teresa, like right as the pandemic was waning. Like we were so happy to be out and free. We had to
Mm-hmm.
go to Costa
Mm-hmm.
Rica, and
Oh, you
that was
guys went to Costa
fire.
Rica?
Yep. That
Okay.
was that was 20,
That was 4 years
was it
ago.
4 years ago?
No,
Three.
3 years
Three
Oh, I
ago.
years
was gonna say
ago. Yeah.
it's still a
Yeah.
while ago. Like
That was like, whoo, break me out.
Yes.
Break me out.
We were in those Costa Rican jungle streets.
Yes. That was a good vacation. I need a vacation after
It
that
was.
vacation. That was a
Yeah,
really
that
good
was good.
vacation. So I definitely think the pandemic changed a lot of things for a lot of people, in all their relationships, some positive and some not so positive, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? The divorce rate went skyrocketed around that time. And like you said, Tracy, people found out what their core relationships were with not only their partners, but their children and their parents and if you're in the same household, a lot of things change, which I I'm glad it didn't change for me, but I was stunned to see so many people really hate being at home with their family.
Well, think about, so you have a nice, spacious, beautiful home. I have like home that has room in it. But I was just thinking, like, if I had lived in the apartment I lived in pre-pandemic, during the pandemic,
Hmm.
maybe things wouldn't have gone as smoothly. Like, some, if you're in tight quarters with people, and that
Yeah,
plays
that's
into some
a
of it, but
big
it's
one.
also how you handle it.
Yeah,
It's how you handle it. I like, my husband and I were just like, what are we watching now? Like, well, we got to turn
yeah,
off
everybody
these
was doing them Netflix dates.
Yep.
COVID counts. Turn the COVID counts off. Let's do,
Right.
and then, like, work. I think there was this big push on, people had to be in the office. You had to have this attire on. You had to stand by the water cooler and chop it up. Like, all of that pretense was lifted in the workplace. I loved that, because
I did.
I'm not someone who walks in and like, how was everyone's weekend? Like, I love everyone, but I don't care how your weekend was.
I don't
Me.
love everybody.
I'm
So
like, good
I love the people that I love in the
I only want to hear
workplace.
about certain people's
Yes.
weekend, and I
morning.
definitely don't want you asking about my weekend, because
Right.
I'll just tell you if I want to tell you.
Yeah, just
So I'm a morning person and I am a morning people person, but I have learned to, you know, tune it down because I would come in like on 10,
because you've been sleeping
my
10 hours.
and yeah, damn straight. And my boss be on 3 and she'd be like, coffee first, coffee first.
Monday morning, people are like, still sleeping off their hangover, like they're in
10,
the office, sunglasses. Shahita's like, hi.
10.
And it's just but those were the kind of things that can make or break you in the office place sometimes. If people saw you as like not being a people person, not being a team player, whatever you want to call it. Now the working remote kind of leveled that playing field a little bit, and it actually was like, how much work is getting done? That, which is really kind of the important thing at
I
the end of the
feel,
day.
and I will say this a thousand
Mhm.
times, people work harder at home
I
than they
do.
do at the office.
Now, I may be down to the target sometimes, but
Shut
my
up.
work is getting done.
No, I believe work is definitely getting done. Though my theory was if you didn't work hard before the pandemic, you wasn't going to work hard during the pandemic.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Some people couldn't handle it though. They literally would just get in the bed and go to sleep if they weren't in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and they still can't handle. Like I said, people are ruining it for other people with the, working from home. I love it. I don't need to be home every single day though. I do like the socialization of work, which is what I mean when I say sometimes you work harder at home than me socializing at work.
Yeah, I have my one friend. I have more friends, but I have the one friend in my office that, her and I, we only see each other once a week because
Hmm.
I work from home Monday I mean, Wednesday and Fridays. She works home, I want to say Monday and Thursdays. So I miss her. I see her on Tuesday only when she's in the office. So we catch up. We sit in the office like about an hour, 15 minutes or so, just like catching up on everything, Um, and then my administrative person, miss chatting with her too. She's a young person. I'm just trying to get her trained and up to speed and stuff. So, and I'm the environment has just changed so much. So I'm a work from home person. I've been home since Wednesday. I didn't go in yesterday because
But I've heard people say, and I think this is this is not the case for me. People say you can't be friends with people at work, which I don't believe. You can't be friends with
Exactly.
everyone at work,
Exactly.
but I'm definitely friends with people at work. I like have non-work related travel that I plan with coworkers because we are such good friends and we're so connected. So I feel like anyone who's putting up a wall and saying you can't have friends at work, that's not true. You can't. It is true you can't be friends with
Yeah.
everyone,
I
but
have friends
Well,
at work.
let's say you can't have women as friends too, or men as friends. I don't feel like there is any like gender stop on having friendships or age or work.
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I have and your volume is low, Shahida, again.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There
And
I am. I back.
there you go. And I have friends at work. So there's certain people that I don't see. And when I don't see them, I'm like, hey, where you at? I'll go down and
Right.
check on them and see where they are. But I've made friends who have left the job who I'm still friends with, and two of those people I'll be catching up with them in the next week or so. And they've been valuable, very, very valuable friends to me, and have definitely been, become a part of my friend circle. You know, and we don't have
Mm-hmm.
to get together all the time because everybody's got family and children and other things going on, so still, maintain that friendship and we catch up when we can catch up. So it's important. It's
So
important.
we have come to that time where we are about to head out. Our hour is up. But before we go, any advice? Who's calling who on Wednesday? Because somebody's gonna have to check in on me. Somebody's gonna have to check in on me. You might have to bring me food.
Yes, what do they do?
I'm
So Tuesday
closest,
is the
so
election. I I will be working the polls that day. I was just telling Teresa earlier that I don't even want to work the polls. I just want to be at home in my own little bubble and have somebody just text me she won and that be it. And then I'll turn on the news. I'll be like, yeah, so what are you guys plans for Tuesday and Wednesday?
Well, I've already voted,
Me too.
so I'm set. I'm not going to do anything. I am actually right now trying to keep myself calm, and not get too anxious about what's
Mhm.
going on, because there's a lot of ugliness that's happening, and I'm just not understanding why
No.
it's
yeah.
taking place in the way that it is taking place in 2024. But there is a lot on the line, and I do recommend that everyone goes out and vote, straight down. Because one of the
Yeah.
things I think that people don't think about is that, oh, you know, the last president didn't do such and such. They promised this, they promised that. The president cannot do anything unless.
It's just the executive office. You got to
Right.
have that check system of checks and balances.
Yes.
You learned it in seventh
Yep.
grade, sixth grade in social studies. It's the House,
Yep.
it's the Senate, it's the president's office, it's the Supreme Court. It's not just the president. And especially people talking smack about what a vice president didn't do. Please stop,
Right.
because y'all don't know anything that Mike Pence did. You
Or
only know what
even
Al
Biden when he was vice
you
president.
only know what Al Gore did because he said he tried to start the
And
internet
we do know
and,
what
and some
Cheney
other.
did. Cheney shot off the gun and almost
We
hit
know
somebody.
Cheney shot a person in the
You
face.
know,
Well, he
Like
was a shadow
honestly,
president, everyone says.
yes. So let's
I
stop
know.
with all that. But I think that because we are a resilient people,
Yep.
we are going to be prepared for whatever happens
Yeah.
on Tuesday, and it's going to be equally as emotional when she wins, because then we're now in protective mode,
Right.
the way we were with President Obama. Like, please God, protect this
Yeah.
family, protect our president. So I feel like the emotional roller coaster is not going to end on
No.
Tuesday or Wednesday. It's probably just going to be beginning. But I think that,
There will
with
be
it all
a
said and
sense of
done,
relief.
we'll know something. You won't know by the time this episode airs, but by the following uh week you'll have
Right.
our
We might
feedback.
come in on Wednesday if sis wins. Well, we might not even know for a while because we already know he's going to contest it.
Right.
So and that will be a process, but I hate I have a feeling that she will blow him out. And I
So
feel that that would be the comfort zone for us because he's going to contest it regardless,
Yes.
but a blowout he can't really win. But a tight one he can.
let's see.
Because it's the
Yes.
Supreme Court too, and we already see their trash.
When I overheard my husband talking to his friends saying, are y'all gonna vote? Did y'all vote?" I was like, "Oh, I got to him." So just keep talking to the people in your life
Right.
about getting out there and get into the polls
Yes.
and making it
One of
happen.
the things I've just keep saying is that, the reversal of Roe v. Wade is not just about, the termination of a pregnancy. It is the health of every woman because our bodies are so complicated. They bring life. It's a delicate body that we have. And if you will see more women, young and
A
old,
young woman just
I
died, what,
know,
yesterday in
who will
Texas?
die. And
17.
so that's why I can't understand the men in their lives, the fathers in their lives, and what they're thinking. So we'll see what
Or
happens.
those women in Texas.
Hmm.
The thing is that this has been on the line for a long time, and you still voted in Abbott,
Yep.
who had, so okay, you didn't have the visual of women actually dying, but you do now.
Right.
And you cannot tell me that you can stand behind what Trump and Vance has set for you and knowing that people in your state are actually dying and say you're still going to vote for this man. Do what Kamala said, do what Michelle said. And doesn't Teresa look like Michelle Obama? But do what they said and go in there no matter what your husband says. Go in there and vote for your rights. Go in there and
Yes.
vote for your body. Go in there and vote for your daughters. Vote for her because these men do not give a rat's ass about you.
Your
Yep.
daughter, your granddaughter, your son,
Yes.
And your
okay?
son, yes.
Yep.
Everybody, your nieces and nephews, whoever,
Yep.
It's actually heartbreaking to see where we have come in
Hmm.
the country in such a short amount of time.
Yep.
Granted, we know that this has been the building block for a
Yes, for
long
a long
time.
time.
But just the explosion of the hate, like you said, you don't understand it. I don't understand it, but it has always been the undercurrent.
Yep.
I said to a coworker at work the other day, she's like, well, she's trying to defend Trump. I said, well, it doesn't surprise me the ugliness of where we are right now because this is a country that saw a black man hang from a tree and had a picnic and a barbecue. This is the same country that in 1972 was spitting at little black kids as they were trying to go to school and in the suburbs. So it doesn't surprise me the hate, but it does surprise me at the numbers that are as split evenly down the country.
and
That
then
does
think
surprise
about
me.
what's coming next. What's coming next? What else they're gonna take
Oh,
away?
so
Because
I thought about today was, I believe it was 1974.
Hmm.
That was when women could literally purchase a home on their own
without
without
without a man,
without a man, without a husband or
More.
a spouse. So
open a bank
that
account. A lot
yes,
of that
that's
stuff.
all of that stuff is seems like that is what's coming. All the rights for women is
I'm
taken.
not gonna live in the Handmaid's Tale. I'm
No,
telling you that
that
right
outfit is
now.
not cute.
But you hear this saying,
My listen,
My
my
hair will not fit under one of those things.
my kids are licensed to carry. Okay, my
hmm
husband does not play, so I'm not. You no, I'm not doing all red or all Fred or whatever her name is.
that is like what Teresa, what you were saying, those rights that the credit card, the
Mhm.
being able to buy a home, being able to own, get take out a business loan, all those things,
Yep.
these men, these elected officials
Yep.
are actually saying that they want to go back to that
Yep.
time, and they're being specific about even women's rights to vote.
Yep.
Like, they're saying that,
So
and how
just
are these
because you
people not
have the
hearing it?
privilege and you've lived all your life with that privilege, I never thought abortion would be taken
Me
back.
neither.
No,
Like
no one did.
I
No one did.
never in
That's
my
why it
life
was a talking
dreamt
point.
that it would happen like this. So
Taking
you
books
take that
out of
away, what
schools.
critical race theory? You're
You
taking
know
critical
what?
race theory.
Remember the book Hair Love? You know that's on the ban list. Hair Love, and it's about the little girl who's getting her hair done by her dad. They actually have an HBO movie on it, and it's really cute. But it's just talking about her. It is on the banned list. A book for a 4-year old because it doesn't incorporate like a white child's hair. Like,
Wow.
But you know
you
what?
have several thousand books.
I'm not going back.
I'm
Right.
not going
Me
to.
neither.
Did you see my
So
shirt?
Been there.
nah.
I don't
Okay,
have the
Sister
boobs to fill it
Rosa.
out, but it's all right.
Well, Teresa, thank you for joining us. This has been Teresa Allen, our
McCrory.
McCroy. Oh, my bad.
You're
Girl,
right.
don't let me forget. That's Tam, okay? That is
You're
Tam.
right.
Don't let
Thank you, ladies, for having me. This was a lot of fun. I love you guys. I can't wait to see y'all next month or this month.
Yeah,
I gotta figure out some food because
Yeah,
I finished the book.
I'm doing book. I haven't finished my own book yet, but I'm glad you all are loving it.
I haven't started.
It's fun. You got 14
I
days.
know.
All right. Till next
Yeah.
time, and hopefully there's a Kamala win.
There is a Kamala win.
There
Yeah.
is. There will be a Kamala
Yes.
win.